This wasn't just another tense exchange, it was the moment the entire hearing went off the rails. Congressman Ted Lieu looked Attorney General Pam Bondi straight in the eye and accused her of lying under oath on camera in real time. What followed was chaos, interruptions, heated pushback, and a confrontation that quickly spiraled beyond control. With explosive claims tied to the Epstein files, powerful names dragged into the spotlight, and zero room to hide, this became more than a hearing, it became a credibility showdown. And what you're about to see is the exact moment everything erupts.
I have a UC.
Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop.
Now I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, that we redacted the victim's
Because you were following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures, but you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be released.
I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
President Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
I'd like to take my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms. Head.
You're allowed to.
I did not ask a question.
Crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his state.
She can't just
Madam
add
Attorney
lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be.
Let's be clear. This was no longer a routine hearing. It became a direct, high-stakes confrontation over credibility at the very core of the justice system. The moment Ted Lieu looked straight at Pam Bondi and accused her of lying under oath, everything shifted instantly. This was no longer about policy disagreements or standard oversight. It was a reputational detonation delivered live in front of Congress and the public. And what made it even more striking wasn't just the accusation itself, but how the room reacted. The tension became suffocating. Every word that followed wasn't part of a structured debate. It was damage control, counterattacks, and an attempt to regain control of a narrative that was rapidly slipping away. Lieu didn't just ask questions. He constructed a deliberate line of pressure. He started with visual evidence, moved into legal standards surrounding trafficking laws, and then cornered the argument into a single, uncomfortable point. If what's right in front of us isn't enough to justify investigation, then what standard is actually being applied? This wasn't random confrontation. It was strategic positioning. He forced Bondi into a binary choice. Acknowledge gaps and potential failure, or deny what appears increasingly difficult to deny. And in that moment, Bondi leaned into denial. But that decision only intensified the scrutiny. Because when she asserted that there was no evidence, Lieu immediately escalated. He didn't just push back emotionally. He introduced a narrative involving a witness, a specific account, and details that were difficult to dismiss outright in a live setting. Whether every claim holds up under deeper investigation is a separate matter. But politically and visually, the impact was immediate. When a lawmaker publicly declares, "I believe you just lied under oath," that statement doesn't stay confined to the room. It becomes a headline. It becomes a clip. It becomes a narrative that takes on a life of its own. What makes this moment especially volatile is not a single allegation. It's the accumulation of doubt. The growing sense that there is a widening gap between official statements and public perception. Lieu capitalized on that gap. He didn't need to conclusively prove everything in real time. He only needed to introduce enough friction to make the official answers feel insufficient. And once that happens, every follow-up response starts to look like deflection, whether it is or not. Bondi's reaction, pushing back, rejecting the premise, showing visible frustration, didn't diffuse the situation. If anything, it amplified it. Because in high-pressure political moments like this, perception often outweighs precision. And to viewers, the exchange didn't look like clarity. It looked like escalation. It looked like a system under stress. And that's the larger issue this moment exposes. When accusations this serious are made openly, without immediate resolution, what remains isn't certainty, suspicion. And in politics, suspicion spreads faster and lasts longer than facts. It lingers. It reshapes narratives. It erodes trust over time. So this wasn't just a clash between two figures. It was a flashpoint. A moment where questions about transparency, accountability, and institutional integrity were dragged into the spotlight in the most public way possible. And once those questions are out there, they don't just disappear. They continue to echo long after the hearing ends.